Hey, what's up? It's me, JDS4696, and today I'm going to be giving a film review for Fantastic Four. And this is a reboot of the Fantastic Four film franchise. And you know, of course, the Fantastic Four is a Marvel Comics superhero team, which the films were based on, because they had like their first Fantastic Four film, which was released in 2005, and then they had like a follow-up, which was known as Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which was released in 2007. Now, both of those films were like they did like financially well at the box office, which warrants them doing like another film in the series, you know. But this is actually like a reboot with new like actors and actresses and like a new director, you know, taking over the film as well, you know. So yeah, this will be my review for the Fantastic Four reboot. Now, this film is directed by Josh Trank, and he also directed the 2012 film known as Chronicle, which I thought was a cool film at the time, and that film was kind of like I think what they call those films, like reality type films. It was kind of on that level, you know, with like these people learning that they had like superpowers and stuff like that. But it was like very realistic, you know, because also in that film was like one of the stars that is in this Fantastic Four reboot, Michael B. Jordan, who plays Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, you know, which I'll touch on too as well, you know, because in this film that was one of like the controversies about it, you know, and I was also noticing that too, was that Johnny Storm in this film, he's an African American played by Michael B. Jordan. So right then, I even noticed that, you know, because I'm more familiar with Johnny Storm being a Caucasian, you know, because in the previous two Fantastic Four films, he was played by Chris Evans, you know, who went on to play Captain America, you know. But yeah, this reboot of the Fantastic Four film series, it kind of gives like their origin tale again, you know, like with them discovering that they had powers once they went to like this other dimension, you know, they went like they did like they basically teleported to like another dimension, and that's how they acquired these superpowers, you know. And at the same time, their villain was created as well too, you know, Victor Von Doom, who becomes Doctor Doom. Now the four heroes, like the film opens with like it opens with like a kind of like an origin tale, kind of like explaining Richard Reed, you know, who becomes Mr. Fantastic, the one that can stretch his arms and legs and stuff and everything, you know, which I always thought was kind of cool. And he's kind of like the leader of the Fantastic Four, if I'm not mistaken. Well, it opens with him as a kid, like in school, and he's kind of friends with his I think his name is Ben. He's the one that becomes known as the Thing. Yeah, Ben Grimm, his friend Ben Grimm. Him and so you have Richard Reed and you have Ben Grimm. They're like discussing like a project that deals with like teleportation. So basically, at the very young age, Richard Reed had created this device that can like teleport matter. So he actually creates a device that can, you know, like teleport things, and he automatically tests it like on certain objects. Like this little toy car that they had, he teleported it like to like another dimension, you know. Then like the dimension, it brought back some kind of like crumbling rocks from the dimension that he teleported it to. Now, to me, all that right up was kind of like far-fetched, you know. But at the same time, it's like very, you know, like in that world, in this universe, you know, it kind of makes sense for it to be, you know, kind of okay with, you know. But to me, that kind of did seem like it was like just too much, you know, like the idea that he can actually transport like matter, like a person themselves physically to like another dimension, not like no world or anything, like a dimension, almost like Doctor Who type stuff. Now to me, that was kind of like just like too much, but it was acceptable, you know. But yeah, it turns out that he was able to do stuff like that at a very young age, and he was doing it with his friend Ben Grimm, who becomes the Thing later on, you know, when they like, you know, when they travel to the other dimension and acquire their power. So eventually, as Richard Reed grows up, when he becomes like much older, you know, he attracts the attention of Franklin Storm, who is like the director of the Baxter Foundation, and he is also the father of Johnny Storm, you know, who becomes the Human Torch. He's also the father of him, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's the father of Johnny Storm as well, too, you know. Now, from what I heard, Franklin Storm, he was also Caucasian too, like in the comics, but I'm not really too familiar with that. Plus, he's also the father of Sue Storm, where he actually adopted her, you know, who becomes like the Invincible Woman. He's also the father of her. as well. But yeah, he invites Richard Reed, well Franklin Storm, he invites Richard Reed to join like his facility just because he's able to create like a device that can teleport matter. So he invites them to join like his institute known as Baxter Foundation. So eventually, like Richard Reed joins, and he puts together like his teleportation, like like machine with other like crew members and stuff. And then this is where he meets Victor Von Doom, who will eventually become Doctor Doom. He meets him here for the first time. So all three of them agree to like to make the machine. Then at one point later on in the story, they all decide to just use the machine and like just take a chance because they already experimented on it with like four monkeys. They sunk the monkeys in the teleportation like device to like the other dimension to see if it was safe and secure, and then they brought the monkeys back at the same time. Then they knew that it was okay for them to actually send humans to wherever the monkeys went, and it's supposedly like this other dimension is known as I think they call it Planet Zero, this alternate like parallel dimension, which I could say is not that it was just like too much, but it kind of fits in this world, but it is known as Planet Zero. So basically they all travel to Planet Zero later on in the film, and that's where everybody requires their powers and stuff, because they decide to steal the machine, and Victor Von Doom even goes with them as well, and they get stranded in Planet Zero. And Victor Von Doom, he gets like caught in like the stuff, whatever, and that's how he gets all messed up, like I think, I'm not gonna necessarily say burned up, but he kind of got like disfigured and stuff like that. And then the other three heroes, other four, that's how they acquire their powers, like Richard Reed becomes Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm becomes the Invisible Woman, and then you have Ben Grimm, he becomes the Thing, and then you have Johnny Storm, who becomes the Human Torch. And I think he's kind of like the coolest of the heroes, well, I ain't gonna say the cool, he looks the coolest as far as like the effects go, because he can flame on, like the flame and stuff, like he's like burning up and stuff, and he can fly and stuff and everything. I always thought that was cool, and he can shoot like flame balls and fireballs. I thought to me that those kind of effects, those moments like that, they were cool, But yeah, once they're in like the Planet Zero, that's when they acquire their powers, and stuff like that. Then like Victor Von Doom, he gets left behind because they thought he was like dead and stuff, I believe. So they returned, and it turns out that Richard Reed, he's like scared and terrified. And he's like running and everything, because he don't know why he's the way he is. Because they bring him back, his arms and legs, they're like very elastic, he can like stretch them and everything like that. So he's already terrified of that, But at the same time, his friend Ben Grimm, who is now the Thing, he's like this huge like rock-like monster thing, He wants Richard to help him, but Richard is like scared because of what happened. And at the same time, you have Sue Storm, who's also like training to use her powers like with invisibility and stuff, and she can like make things like disappear and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool too, And then the Human Torch, he's steady learning his powers too. Now all that stuff doesn't really get touched on until a year later, after the events of them being like going into Planet Zero, then coming back. That's when they learn, it jumps automatically a year later with everybody already been established, because you already get to see like the Thing helping like I guess this is like what the United States helping them in wars and stuff, because he's like picking up tanks and like throwing them around and fighting. Those moments like that were cool, Any moments where the superheroes are using their powers, I thought was like fun and entertaining. But at one point, they all decide to go back into the Planet Zero, and then that's when they find that Victor Von Doom, he is still alive, and he's all like messed up, and like he doesn't really look how he looks like in the comic books, like with the metal like silver face. He has like a metal like face, like, but it's not silver and stuff, and he does have like the hood as well, But to me, that's what was kind of slightly disappointing, was like he didn't look like the Doctor Doom that I'm familiar with, But once they bring him back, into like our dimension from Planet Zero, it turns out that he has become like very like evil, like he automatically starts just killing everybody by like using like he'll look at them with his eyes, and then their head, he can like explode heads and stuff like that. And I was noticing that too, like if he was able to do something like that, it's like he would have been able to easily take the Fantastic Four out, like he could just explode their heads, but they didn't really touch on that, But But as it went on, you know, he escaped from the hospital, which I thought was like probably one of the best scenes in the film. And now the thing about it is rushed. You know, you could tell they kind of like rushed it on through, like they was trying to just finish the film. You know, so I was kind of, you know, disappointed, but it was fun. And at that point, I thought the film was very entertaining. And it was going towards its end. You know, so like the Doctor Doom role, it wasn't really like too huge. You know, but he had like a lot of screen time. He did his thing. He killed a lot of people. He had the battles with the Fantastic Four. You know, especially when they went back into the Planet Zero. You know, he was fighting them and everything. So it was fun. You know. Moments like that were fun, especially like when he's fighting like Mr. Fantastic, you know, like he was stretched, like Fantastic was stretching his arms at him and everything. He was like dodging and stuff. I thought moments like that were cool, you know. It was fun. It was fun seeing him like, you know, fighting him and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, I thought this film was like okay. I wouldn't really say it was good. I guess if you're like a Fantastic Four fan, you would definitely watch it, you know, or a fan of like Marvel Comics superheroes, you know. I guess you would like watch it too as well, you know. So I want to recommend it for like fans or people who just, you know, if you're a fan of Fantastic Four or just like Marvel Comics and you've been watching all of them, you know, I think those are the people who should get this film a try. Because then I feel like it was rushed, like towards the end, and it doesn't seem like it wasn't really that long, but it is a decent film. But like the moments when it's like building up to them achieving their powers and stuff like that, it's kind of like, it's not boring or anything, but it's kind of like slow paced, you know, and very like high techy, you know. So I wasn't really, you know, I wasn't really into all that kind of stuff, you know. I was, you know, I'm a big science fiction fan, but all that kind of stuff was kind of like turning me off, you know. But at the same time, the film itself, I thought, you know, it had like, especially whenever you see like the Fantastic Four using their powers, like the Human Torch, you know, or Mr. Fantastic, and like Mr. Fantastic to me, he didn't really have too many scenes, you know, too many exciting scenes. Even the Invisible Woman, they didn't really have too many exciting scenes, you know. But I thought they were decent though. If anything, it was if anything, I thought the Thing, you know, his scenes were cool, you know, and I thought the Human Torch scenes were cool, and the Doctor Doom scenes were cool, but they were like just rushed, you know, like when they immediately find him, it just automatically jumps into him like killing everybody. Then the Fantastic Four has to fight him in the other dimension, you know. And that dimension thing, it was just like, and I think that is a part like the actual comic story. To me, that was kind of too much too for me, you know. But I thought this was okay. I would recommend it for like fans of this genre, you know. But it was okay. It wasn't very good, you know. And it's kind of on par with how Ant-Man was, you know, as far as like the films of the summer, you know. And like the people that starred in the film are, you have Miles Taylor as Richard Reeds, and you have Michael B. Jordan, you know, as the Human Torch. Johnny Storm, you had Kate Mara as Susan Storm. You had Jamie Bell as Ben Grimm the Thing. And then you had Toby Kebbell as Victor Von Doom. And also in this film you had Reggie, I think Reg E. Cathy as Dr. Franklin Storm. I'm very familiar with him too, you know. So yeah, this is my review for Fantastic Four. Now in this film you didn't get to see that no Stan Lee cameo, if I'm not mistaken. There wasn't like a Stan Lee cameo. I don't recall seeing him in this one, you know. But yeah, this is my review for the Fantastic Four film, you know, and this is from 2015, the reboot of the film franchise, you know. And maybe on the next one, you know, if they do like another, maybe it'll get even better, you know. But I would recommend it for fans of the genre, like I mentioned before, you know. So this is JDS 4696, and this is my review for Fantastic Four. Alright.